back, everyone, to the Dead Film Critics Society podcast. Today, I'm here, as always, with Aiden Billing, my beautiful co-host, and we're going to be talking about one particular film. We're going to be talking about Sinners today. Feels like the film that most people are talking about these days, but luckily it is for a very good reason for the most part. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Talk about some news. Maybe talk about a few of the things we've seen. We're both off of school now for a little bit, at least. And so yeah, we'll talk about maybe some summer movies that are coming up as well. Look forward to those. We'll probably be talking about a couple of them maybe in the weeks and months coming up. But yeah, we'll go over some news first, Aiden, if you want to
Sure.
share something with us.
I was quickly going to say, I think the two of the bigger things that stood out to me was we talked a little bit about this already. I messaged you a couple weeks ago about this, but achievement in stunt design and best casting are going to be added to the Oscars in the coming years. And I honestly think this is long overdue, and I'm quite happy to see this happen. I mean, stunt performers, I think, are one of the most vital parts of any major film production. And to have them finally be um, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Jesus, I'm having some bit of indigestion at the moment. Just to have those people finally be recognized for the great work they do, and then especially casting directors like putting together these phenomenal casts for some of the best movies you've ever seen. I think that's incredibly important to recognize as well. These are two very important roles that haven't really gotten. They've gotten praise in the industry before, but they've never really had they don't have many awards like associated with them. And I think putting these types of awards at the Oscars is a big step in really, you know, bringing attention to these types of people in the film industry. So I don't know how you feel about it, though. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a good idea overall. I think it's something, yeah, like you said, definitely for stunts, and yeah, honestly for casting is long overdue. Casting, I think, is maybe generally more seen as a more collaborative effort overall between. There's
Mm-hmm.
almost always a casting director, but I think when you're talking about casting, you see stories about it. You do often see that the director had maybe someone in mind when they were casting the film and they talked to them directly, especially if they're well known, like, I don't know, a Tarantino or someone like that. Or obviously, as we'll talk about in Sinners, Ryan Coogler has always been going to Michael B. Jordan and seeing how he can get him in his films, what role he'll give him. It's not a matter of if he'll be in his movies, it's just a matter of what role, that kind of thing. But obviously, casting directors do a lot of work, especially when it comes to casting new actors, casting young actors. Um, and sometimes also just it can matter for famous actors as well. Like for franchises, obviously, it's always considered really important. But just any movie, obviously, you want, even if you have a big movie star, you want the right person to be in the role you're casting. So definitely, yeah. And stunts, well, more like, stunts are in every movie and show, whether you see it or not. Obviously, you're not supposed to see it. It'll obviously be probably more focused on the stuff that has really, complex action, maybe choreography. I don't know if they'll include that. I don't know if they'll call choreography by stunts by. I don't know if there'll be any crossover there. I haven't read over the rules. We're getting casting this year though, so I mean, we might be talking about a movie that might be one of the first films to get a best casting nomination because I think Sinners has a lot of great casting. We'll talk
Oh
about
yeah.
that more later.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, good decision overall. Tom Cruise will probably, comes at a when Mission Impossible is potentially getting its final film, but obviously I don't think Tom Cruise will stop doing stuff like that, and then it will. I don't know. Maybe there'll be some new smaller films that will focus on interesting stunt work for this reason. And yeah, I don't know. We'll be see interesting to see how casting goes.
No, I think yeah. Like I said, I completely agree with you. Great decisions. I will say, I just hope that people don't use this new award as a vehicle to just try and put stunt performers' lives in danger, trying to get crazy stunts. But I mean, I doubt that'll happen. But I just hope that nobody tries to take it that far. I'm
Yeah,
looking at you,
no,
Tom.
I don't think any film that does crazy stunts will find it at all worth it if it was ever found out that like that kind of practice or culture was happening,
Yeah.
let alone like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if something actually happened from like I don't think they're gonna push safety boundaries for this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I
it's
think honestly sometimes the most dangerous stunts can be stuff that doesn't even look that impressive potentially.
yeah.
Um, Obviously, it matters how it's directed and shot as well. Um,
Hmm.
which yeah, um, maybe Mission Impossible's lacking that a little bit, just to some extent. I wasn't as impressed with the big jumping off a mountain scene as I was with some of the other stunts that in the last Mission Impossible movie, but that's not the topic of this video, so well
That is true.
we can maybe talk about that. We'll see what the stunts are in this new one. I'm sure there'll be a lot of very interesting stuff.
Hmm.
Any
Okay. I
will
did have.
yeah.
Hmm?
No, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I had two pieces. I had some information about the new Hunger Games movie that's coming out. We obviously have heard about the casting of Haymitch and Lenore Dove. It's Joseph Zada and Whitney Peak. I don't know of them really that much. I actually don't know about them at all. I don't know what they've been in. I mean, I don't know. Like, what do you have any thoughts on this casting here
Yeah, not
at all?
strong thoughts like this is definitely one where the casting directors would have a big hand in it. Um I
Mm-hmm.
know they've been in a couple of small things. I'm trying to remember what they were. I'd have to double check. I might quickly look that up. But yeah, I mean, and then also,
McKenna Grace was cast as well.
yeah,
Some person named Maisley Donner. This in case anyone's curious, this is for Sunrise on the Reaping. This is the book just came out and they're already making the movie. It's kind of interesting how they're doing that. Yeah, I
yeah.
hope
I mean, it
it's.
makes sense. It was always gonna probably get a film adaptation at some point. And we also have Jesse Plemons. He's kind of the
Yes,
most
as
famous person so far as Plutarch
yeah.
Heavensby. I mean, people have been comparing him to Philip Seymour Hoffman for a while, so this is very much that kind of manifesting itself.
I think
Um,
it's a great casting. Honestly, I think Jesse Plemons is a phenomenal actor, and yeah, no, I look forward to seeing what he'll do.
yeah.
But
Joseph Zada was also cast another YA book. It's a series. We Were Liars. I don't know if you ever heard of that book.
never. Yeah.
It was a fairly popular YA book that we'll get. I think it will probably be in the vein of The Summer I Turned Pretty, something like that. Maybe a little
Oh,
more dark. I think maybe someone dies. I don't know. Whitney
interesting.
Peak, I think, was in another like notable TV series. She was in Molly's Game. I think
Oh.
as Idris Elba's daughter potentially. I might be bullshitting.
Hmm.
Um, and then she was in the revival of Gossip Girl.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, Molly's Game was a pretty good movie, I thought, but yeah, the Gossip Girl series is not. I watched it myself, so I can confirm that it's a bit of a mess. And it makes sense why they canceled it, but yeah, hopefully this one will be better than that. But I think that's a pretty low bar to cross, so she should be fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the last thing you wanted to share with us?
Let me just check my notes again. I just added here. I think. Oh, wait, here we go. Yeah, Ahsoka season 2. It's begun filming. Yes, and I'm quite excited for that because I like season 1 quite a bit. I think the season maybe ended a little bit weaker than I was hoping for, but I think it was overall a pretty strong show. I think that helps with Dave Filoni. I think he's done a great job with most of the Star Wars stuff he's been involved in as of late. And I'm liking the direction of Star Wars lately. I think it's we're starting to get back to a good place. I really liked Skeleton Crew. That was a pretty fun show. It was definitely not really for my age demographic. It's more for younger children. It's kind of in the vein of something like The Goonies, which I really liked because I liked The Goonies as a kid. That was like one of my favorite movies growing up, and I like that influence in there. It was a nice, fun show. Shot really well. The effects look great. And Andor season 2. I don't know if you've watched it yet, but the first couple episodes are out, and it's phenomenal. It's really good. I would say, like people are saying, it's better than the first season, which was already really good. But we're only 6 episodes in. We'll have to see how the full thing plays out. But hopefully, this means that Disney's Star Wars is back on the right track because I must admit before this year I haven't really been that crazy about a lot of the stuff they put out. You know, like I think it's been they've been kind of disappointing me quite a bit. You know, like the Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian season 3 were extremely mid, and also we haven't really gotten anything else that's been really noteworthy. I mean, I know the Acolyte had some potential, but it already has been canceled and it had a lot of backlash online. And Kenobi could have been so much better if it was just a movie. So I mean, definitely some work to be done still, but hopefully they've got a better creative team who's controlling it. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you have anything you want to
I have no thoughts yet on Andor. At least I haven't seen any of it yet. I'm planning to
add?
watch it though, because I've heard the second
Yeah.
season's really good, and so it'll be worth it to. Not that season one's bad. I've heard really good things about that too, but
Oh yeah.
definitely will want to check that out just because I mean Tony Gilroy's behind it.
Mm-hmm.
He worked on, and I think his brother Dan worked on it a little bit too, along with House of Cards writer Bo Wilmon, who's a really good writer. He helped write some of Andor season 2. So yeah, definitely some really good experience, just TV writers that have been able to bring this really intriguing story into the Star Wars universe and being able to like, yeah, like explore the complexities of what a world like with the Empire and what implications it would have on some more normal people, not just Jedi, would be like. Yeah, I mean Star Wars. I'm not the most optimistic about its future overall still. Ryan Gosling with Sean Levy as the director. Like, I like Ryan Gosling, but Sean Levy is definitely not the most inspired pick for
Yeah,
your next
I would
director.
agree
I
with
don't think
that.
he's going to do anything real notable. It would have to have, like, a really good script to be something I think noteworthy. Otherwise, it's probably
Mm-hmm.
going to be kind of mid. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing Andor. Not to say that that would be, and Kathleen Kennedy's probably on her way out. I don't know if you've seen the rumors surrounding that, but there's a lot of talk about that. I don't know who they're going to bring in to replace her exactly. There's still speculation about that. I'm just going to wait till they officially announce it. People have been throwing out like Dave Filoni and other, maybe John Favreau. I think those are the main two people that people have thrown out there. Maybe it'll be someone completely different. Who knows? Yeah, I mean, Star Wars is just whenever you talk about it, people can't be normal most of the time. Unfortunately, one way or the other. Where either it's like it has to be exactly as Star Wars nerds want it, or you want it to actually be good, but then you maybe I don't know, like to some extent it is Star Wars. Like it's supposed to be enjoyed by you know younger people to the like to a large extent. Obviously, it's supposed to be for everyone, but the fanboys that are now old, I say boys because it's probably still true, considering a lot of the sexism that seems to come behind a lot of their critiques.
Yeah.
Um, and right, it's just not a fun place to put representation, which is in some ways fine. Like you don't need Star Wars to have representation, but at the same time, just enjoy your Star Wars when it's good. And I'd rather be, no one's going to critique who they put in charge of these movies, like directing wise, unless like just basically what they say in interviews. Like you basically just judge them on how much of a Star Wars nerd are you when they talk about
Yeah.
them in interviews. Unless you make Andor, in that case, even though they don't really care about Star Wars that much, they made something that was really good. I don't know what Star Wars create. So, I think some people probably don't like it, but regardless, yeah, you just got to put good directors and writers in charge of your movies, no matter what. Which is, you know, why I'm not very excited about the Sean Levy film. It was probably better when you had someone like Patty Jenkins who did Wonder Woman in charge of it. It probably would have been more interesting. But they canceled that one, so I don't know. We'll see what they do. It's are they in a better place than Marvel? Maybe because they're actually making something that people do like. I don't know.
Yeah. It's debatable. I mean, Star Wars hasn't been on the big screen in a while. You know, that's
Yeah,
it's hard to say
it
really.
is hard to compare because yeah, currently Star Wars is very much a
TV
TV
focused.
franchise. Yeah, almost strictly at this point. Um, Marvel though. I don't know if you've heard there's strong rumors that it started filming Avengers. What was it even called? Which one was this going to be called? Doomsday?
What, Doomsday?
Yeah, Doomsday. They started filming it potentially without a locked in script or even a locked in cast, apparently. They're really just winging it, allegedly, to get it done for next year, which seems like a horrible idea that
Why are we rushing
only
stuff? Like,
Marvel would do. Because I don't
yeah,
know, like, maybe they'll. Honestly, they'll probably shoot a lot of stuff. Some of it will make it because they have money to burn, allegedly. And then they'll make it like a part one so they can get something out for next year. Because I think it is always supposed to be a part one, but who knows? Maybe it'll turn into like a trilogy of Avengers films. Like
mm,
but will come out in the next like 5 years because they'll like stuff they'll shoot now will not show up until like the second or third movie they make in whatever. I don't know what they're doing. Um, to be fair, like the marketing team is honestly carrying them to some extent because that stunt with the chairs, it might have been sort of stupid, but at least people paid attention to it, and
yeah,
like reminded people that yeah, there's a lot of famous people attached to this franchise. That's because they pay them. Um,
yeah.
is the quality there? Well, the Russo brothers have not really inspired confidence with anything they've made since Avengers. So they now have
Thing
to
like
go
they haven't
cold
really done
turkey
like
right
anything
into
outside
another
of the
Avengers
MCU that's
film.
of quality. I don't understand.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
Thunderbolts is decent. People are calling it the best since Endgame, but then also it has like, I mean, it has solid Rotten Tomatoes scores, like a 70 on Metacritic.
not bad.
But yeah, I just don't really see when I'll really want to watch another Marvel project more than even Thunderbolts at the moment. I'm a little bit interested in it because the writer of The Bear and the writer of Beef with Stephen Yun and Ali Wong helped do the screenplay. Other than that, I have really no interest. And also, I'd be able to potentially see it for free. So,
Hmm.
um, other than that, can't say I'm very. Yes, I think probably.
What about Fantastic Four?
Yeah, I'm interested in it. Matt Shackman is a solid director. He worked on The Great with Elle Fanning. He worked on a bunch of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. What else did he do? Oh, he did WandaVision, which the direction
Oh,
was
we did
solid on
WandaVision.
that, I
Okay.
guess. The writing, not so much. Who's writing it? I'm curious. The writers don't do honestly matter, especially for franchises, to be honest. Um, I mean, what do you think will be better, Fantastic Four, or for you personally, Fantastic Four or Superman?
Just because James Gunn is more consistent, and I trust his ability to bring a character to the big screen a little bit better than Marvel at the moment. I would say Superman is probably gonna be better.
Okay. Yeah, I'd mostly agree with that. Even though the rumblings I've seen online is that it may not be extremely good, not one of his better
But,
films, which would not be great if that's true. I don't know if that's true for sure, but
well, who's saying that? Have they even like finished like editing the film yet? Like,
they're probably not. But I think it's test screened, and the rumors behind that are not the most positive, right?
yeah, I will say though, like, there's plenty of movies that have been test screened that hasn't done well, then they've done a recut and it's been way better. I think anything is really possible. Like within the editing room, it's insane like what you can do to make a film that much better. So I'm gonna hold off on any ideas on if it's gonna be like good or bad. Like I personally think it'll be like pretty good, but like I don't want to speculate too much until like we get closer to the deadline of when the film is coming out. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Um.
I trust James Gunn though. He actually made the Suicide Squad good. So
Yeah. No, he did.
and gave us a really good TV show in Peacemaker. So I trust him with superheroes at the moment.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, the trailer for Fantastic Four did look like good though. Like both of them look solid. I think. I mean, yeah, I am probably generally more optimistic that Superman will be good. I could see Fantastic Four's writing, especially being not very good. I think James Gunn took his time with the Superman script, obviously, and I think we'll do a lot of good things with it. Also, who knows? Maybe it's just subverting a lot of what people expect about Superman. Editing, of course, yeah, can completely change. Also, films that test well sometimes do really poorly,
Yeah,
critics wise, and which affects a
honestly, I
lot.
feel like test screenings don't always mean a film is going to be good or bad. You know, like it's just like what an audience in a bubble thinks about a film at that certain point in the editing process. You know, so
No,
a
for
lot can
sure.
change.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'll quickly mention that Luca Guadagnino's Sergeant Rock film is at least delayed. That was going to be another DCU film with Mike Face was in it. At some point, Daniel Craig was cast, but I don't think he was anymore. And then Jeremy Allen White was cast. Um, Point is, it's not happening anymore. They're
Unfortunately,
potentially looking to film next summer instead of this summer because I think schedules and stuff just didn't line up. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of what the DCU will do next really hinges on what Gunn will do.
hmm
Um, if Superman is a hit, if it does well financially, which it kind of needs to, then obviously things will continue as planned. But if it really bombs, which I'm not saying is likely, but if it does, like I think a lot of these other projects that are kind of tied to his potential universe are gonna get canceled. Um,
yeah,
so I don't know. A lot hinges
it's
on
a
that Superman
gamble.
film.
It's a gamble for sure, but I don't know, man. I'm not gonna lie. Those first two trailers are, and the extended the extended clip we got of the film. I think it inspires confidence for me. Like you know, like I will trust this man because everything I've seen from him lately has been, you know, pretty solid. Especially Guardians 3 as well. I should have mentioned that earlier. I think that was one of the better superhero films we've gotten in ages. So yeah, I I'm gonna I'm hoping it's good. You know, like I said, don't want to speculate too much, but my thinking is that you know this guy has enough goodwill in the superhero genre to give us a good piece of superhero media, and I think his take on Superman looks to be a lot more like the comics, and I think maybe why people are more worried or more, you know, like potentially upset at the moment is just because like they're so used to seeing Superman in like the Snyder version, like the Snyder universe, and he's a lot more dark and brooding, and that's just really not what the character's like in the comics at all. So it might be a bit of a shock for people to see Superman in this way again because we haven't really seen him in this way since I mean, at least 2006 with Brandon Routh, but that one didn't land so well either because it was right after The Dark Knight. But I mean, the last time people really accepted a Superman like this would probably be Christopher Reeve in the 70s, right? And then into the 80s. But yeah, I think audiences just need to get comfortable with the idea of Superman being a beacon for hope and not just a dark and brooding Jesus metaphor, you know? So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll honestly work. Um, that a general approach will be effective, especially for box office. Yeah, I don't know. It would be interesting to see. The critics are never a huge fan of James Gunn, so if this is like even middle James Gunn, I don't expect it to blow like critics away, especially on Metacritic. Like, but I could expect the Rotten Tomatoes score to probably be in the 80s at least.
yeah, I think
I think there's
so.
a good chance of that. Even if it was like, I think you're only getting into concern territory if it gets into the 60s.
Yeah.
And yeah. Yeah, no, I'll probably be determining based on the critic scores a little bit whether I'll personally see it. So we'll see how it does. Um, I guess we can quickly go into kind of a summer movie preview slash can preview because there's a lot of interesting stuff coming out this summer. Superman being one of them, obviously.
hmm
Fantastic Four being another. I just wanted to maybe quickly rank your excitement for each film from 1 to 10.
Sure.
Just
Yeah.
want to quickly go over some of the notable Cannes films you might be recognizing and also some of the notable summer films. How excited are you for The Phoenician Scheme from Wes Anderson? Did you see Asteroid City?
No, I haven't seen Asteroid City yet. I didn't mean to watch it, but I hear it's pretty decent.
Yeah,
But
I really like it. I would really recommend at least checking it out.
okay, I will check it out. Maybe like a maybe like a 6 out of 10 or something like that. You know, like I'm never clamoring to see a Wes Anderson film, but every time I do, I thoroughly enjoy myself. So I know it's gonna be solid.
Yeah.
So, but it's just not one of those like movies that I'm super like pumped about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
How about Eddington from Ari Aster? I don't know if did you see the trailer for that?
I did. Yeah, it's like it takes place during COVID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an intriguing premise. I don't know. I think I'm about a 6 as well, just because like I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I think Ari Aster's style just doesn't work with me as well. But I did enjoy parts of Midsummer and Hereditary. They just like weren't necessarily my cup of tea. I can't say they're bad movies because they're not. But yeah, just because like I'm not a huge fan of his work, I'd probably say like maybe like a 6 as well. So what about
Um,
you?
yeah, for Eddington, it's honestly, yeah, I don't know. I did not like Bo is Afraid. I severely
I
did
know.
not
I
like
remember
that
how bad
movie.
you were telling me it was.
Um, I think this looks a little more intriguing overall. I don't think it will include as much bullshit. But I don't know. I am cautiously optimistic. So like maybe a 6 or 7. Phoenician
Okay.
Scheme is like an 8 or a 9. I liked Asteroid City a lot. I'm always excited for what Wes does next. Um,
Yep.
Everything he does to me at least is like aesthetically pleasing. So even if the
Uh
story
huh.
isn't like the best thing in the world, it's also really funny. Like I get excited whenever he does something with his style that you just wouldn't expect. Like there's
Yeah.
a character shooting a basketball in one of his scenes. It's like those like parodies of Wes Anderson films. I feel like
Mhm.
sometimes like what if a Wes Anderson film was a sports film? But a little bit of that is going to be in this next film. And like this film is also going to include a bunch of violence, which is really funny in his world. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it a lot. Benicio del Toro is the lead of it. I think he looks
Mhm.
great. I think he'll be really funny. Yeah, the trailer looks great. I'm really looking forward to that. Like a 8 or 9. Thunderbolts.
Mm, I think like a 5, to be
Yeah,
honest. I'm not gonna
it's a
go see
fun
it
film.
opening night. I'm gonna go see it on a Tuesday. You know, because I want to roll. I don't want to like put too much stock into it because the MCU is kind of I don't know a little bit hit or miss lately. They've been doing better lately, I will say, because I liked Loki season 2 and I liked Guardians 3. You know, I don't know. I didn't hear great things about Captain America 4. I didn't really want to go see it. You know, I didn't bother. Just plus they spoiled like one of the cooler aspects in the trailer. So like, what's the point? You know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Ooh, I think like an 8 or a 9. To be honest, I love the Mission Impossible movies. I got a sweet spot for them. I think it was weird. Like I didn't see the first Mission Impossible first. The first Mission Impossible movie I ever saw was Ghost Protocol, and I was like hooked because that was like the coolest thing to me when I was like 8 years old. I loved it so much. It was great. My dad had it illegally downloaded. Oops, don't tell anyone. But we had it on this disc, and I would watch it all the time. It was like one of my favorite movies growing up. And then I saw the rest of them. I was like, okay, I see how he got here. And then I saw Rogue Nation in theaters, and then after that, I made it my mission to go see the rest of them in theaters whenever I can. So yeah, I'm very excited for this one. How about you?
It's like a 7. Like
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little worried it will be because I don't think the stories are ever the best, and I think
Mm.
the stunts maybe they're getting too focused on doing something so elaborate that it won't actually look that impressive or like be as exciting story wise. Like
Mm.
the train and the jumping off the mountain, like I said earlier, was not the most exciting thing to me. I liked the car stunts they did earlier in the film, honestly,
Uh huh.
Like those were more interesting and engaging for me. We'll see what they do with this. Like, I don't know, he's hanging from a plane, just
Well, they
doing
actually did that
going
too, which I'm like,
underwater, just
wow.
doing insane stuff. Hopefully,
Yeah,
they shot it well. Is all I can say. You know.
I hope so too. Yeah. I mean, I thought Fallout was shot pretty well, to be honest.
Yeah. Overall.
Yeah, I think that maybe the issue with Dead Reckoning was that like it was also made during COVID, so there were probably some issues that they couldn't really fix to make it like super refined. You know, that's my thinking at least. I'm not trying to say that's an excuse, because plenty of other movies look good, but that may have been a factor at play.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
Ballerina, the John Wick spinoff.
eh, like a 4,
A
to be
four.
honest. Maybe I don't know. Look, I like the John Wick movies. It's just like I don't know. I didn't hear much about the Continental TV show, so I'm just
Sure.
like,
That's
how
fair.
will a spinoff really work here?
Yeah. Yeah. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I don't know. I mean, I like Ana de Armas as an actor. I don't know. It's just not something that's really high on my list of things to see. I'll probably
Yeah.
check it out eventually.
Fair enough. I don't think
Yeah.
it'll be
If I
that
hear
good
really good
for
things
me.
about it, I will.
It's
But
probably like a six. I don't think unless it gets really good reviews, I'll see it in theaters. But I'd watch it later probably, assuming
yeah.
it's decent.
Yeah, of course, of
Um,
course.
One thing you should have on your radar is the Life of Chuck. I don't know if you've heard of it yet. There was a trailer
Hmm.
out for it. It's a Stephen King adaptation. It won the TIFF People's Choice Award. Um, I didn't like it as much. I thought it was good. I thought it was like I understand why it won the TIFF People's Choice movie. It's a very charming, well done movie from Mike Flanagan. Um,
Hmm.
but
Oh, I mean, you said Mike Flanagan. I'm already sold. I
yeah,
like Mike Flanagan a lot. I loved The Haunting of Hill House. I thought that was a great TV show, and I think Hush is a really good movie too. So I think
yeah,
he's a great horror director
this is
and
probably his
writer.
best thing that he's made, based on my short viewings of what he's made, and also from my my girlfriend and her dad also really liked the movie, and he's
Okay.
especially her dad loves a lot of the things Mike Flanagan's done, but I think this is probably his favorite. I haven't double checked with him, but he, yeah, he really likes it, so you should definitely put that on your radar.
Okay, I'll put it on my radar. Yeah.
How to Train Your Dragon remake,
2.
two. No
Yeah,
chance
dude.
you're
Like,
seeing
cause
this in
I
theaters.
because early reports of this, right? I thought they were gonna do something like similar to the original book that the movie's based off of, but it just seems like they're just remaking the animated movie. And I'm like, do we really need that? Like, I feel like it would have been more interesting to, I don't know, have a new take on the story, because I don't know if you noticed, man, the book is actually a lot different from the movie. I thought it would have been really cool to tackle that instead, but oh well, I guess
Yeah,
not.
I've heard good things about it. Probably just because it does capture the same magic to some extent. So if you watch it and you like How to Train Your Dragon, you'll enjoy basically rewatching it again with maybe a little bit of a different dynamic because in some of the real scenes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like a flat five for me. I'm not like completely angry that it
Hmm.
exists. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not that excited either. Lilo and
No, I'm not really
Stitch
excited. Hmm. Okay,
remake.
I have one for you.
Yeah.
It's the new movie from I don't know the guy, but the guy who directed Barbarian Weapons. Have you heard about
Weapons,
this?
yeah. Probably an eight. There's a lot of hype around this thing. I
It
like
looks really
Barbarian.
fucking interesting, honestly.
Its last third is probably not as good as the rest of it. The first two thirds are definitely the best parts because it is like not three distinct films, but three distinct parts in Barbarian.
Yeah,
Um, and I've heard, yeah, the script apparently was so good it caused a large bidding war. It's considered like a horror version of Magnolia, which is a Paul Thomas Anderson film that's like 3 hours and
yeah,
covers a lot of different characters. So I'm interested in that
interesting.
part.
Yeah,
Jordan
I heard
Peele
Jordan. I was gonna say he
allegedly,
fired his agent because he
yeah,
didn't get it, did he?
allegedly fired his managers because they could not secure the film because he wanted Monkey Paw to be produced, like helping distribute it.
Distributor. Yeah.
um, and get it onto Universal's slate. I'm assuming because he has a deal with them. Yeah. So yeah, like an eight. I didn't love Barbarian so much, and I'm like I'm 100% sure this is gonna be a film I love, but I'm pretty excited.
Okay.
How about I don't know if you saw the trailer for this, the Materialists with Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, and Pedro Pascal from the director of Past Lives.
Uh, I didn't see the trailer. No, I don't know much about it. So, I mean, if it's done by the people who did Past Lives, it's probably going to be a solid film. I just don't know if when I'll get to it.
Fair enough.
Maybe like a maybe like a 4 or 5. Just because
Yeah, yeah. Mine it's probably like a seven. I didn't
Okay.
love Past Lives like other people did, but I'm intrigued. I like her overall work as a filmmaker.
Okay.
What she did with Past Lives, and so I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Okay. What about the F1 movie?
See, I'm really mixed on that because
Mm.
it looks really intriguing how they shot it, right? I think it'll be really exciting
Yeah.
to watch the races. The story, I'm not sure about it. Brad Pitt as a person is also a problematic individual to
Yeah, I
support,
know. I know.
which is a bummer. I
But
like Carrie
Dance
Condon.
Ninjas though,
I like
fantastic actor,
that
and I'm
she's in
interested to
it.
see more things with him in it. So yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't. The story doesn't look that interesting.
Hmm.
It doesn't. At best, it'll be Top Gun levels of writing. So
Yeah.
then, I'm only comparing it to Top Gun because the director is the one who's doing F1.
Hmm.
Will it be Top Gun levels of thrilling in that I'll probably only see it with someone else. For that reason, it's probably going to be like a six. I think at this point. If it gets really good reviews and is like considered a really good story, I'm more I'm only seeing it in theaters with someone else who really wants to see it, basically. So that's like the conditions for me seeing it. That's kind of the level I'm at. What about you?
I put it like a 7. I'm very interested in seeing it. I think it'll look phenomenal. Like I know that, and I've seen that from the trailer, and I don't know, like I'm a sucker for I like me I grew up like a bit of a gearhead. Like I watch Top Gear all the time with my dad and my brother. That's kind of our thing. So I am interested in car culture to an extent. I'm not a big F1 fan. I don't like watch F1 at all. But I feel like maybe this could be an interesting way to I don't know see what it's like. Maybe it'll get me interested in the sport. But yeah, I mean certainly looks like it'll be a lot of fun. And I don't know I like Joseph Kosinski as a director. I think everything he's put out, whether it's been like phenomenal or not story wise, is one thing. But you can't say any of his movies have like looked bad or not been like entertaining to watch. I think like there's been good elements to every single one of his films. My favorite that he's done, aside from Top Gun Maverick, because I think that's his best, obviously, is I still love Tron Legacy to this day. I know that like the script is kind of mid, but like just it's such a nice film to look at, and like it's such a cool world that he builds, and I don't know. I like when a director does a really good job at visually building the world of the film, and I think he's like one of the best in the game today at that. So I really am excited to see what he does here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. Would you see it alone though?
maybe.
Maybe. Okay. Well, it depends, I guess, how maybe reviews are
I saw
treating it.
with with its microphone, but I was just gonna say I saw Top Gun Maverick with friends, and I saw it by myself afterwards because I really liked it. So if I really like it the first time, then I'll watch it again probably. But yeah.
28 years later
Oh, that's
from
gotta be a 10.
a 10.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Fuck, I love zombie movies. I like Alex Garland a lot, and I don't know, man. I would really like to see this movie. Like me and my friend Ali, we've been talking about it like nonstop, and like they just dropped another trailer for it today. I haven't watched it yet, but people are already raving about it online. So I really want to. I think anticipation for this movie for me is pretty high. I'm very excited to see what they do. So
Um, do you think Alex Garland's directing it? I'm just curious.
he's writing it though.
Yeah, he's writing it.
Yeah,
And then it's Danny Boyle, who's the
yeah, I
director.
know,
Yeah, sorry.
I know.
No, yeah,
Yeah, no, no.
yeah.
I just
I
like
know. Yeah,
he's done. He's just been a really. I just think he's a phenomenal writer. So I think the story's gonna be really interesting. You
yeah.
know. So
I was just intrigued that you mentioned him before Danny Boyle, only because we usually mention directors before we mention writers. But obviously, Alex
that is.
Garland is a very prominent,
Yeah.
but in
That,
both.
that honestly, why I mentioned him was just because like he's been very prolific lately. He's done a lot of big projects. Like he did Warfare, which my roommate said was pretty good, and then obviously Civil War, which my roommate also quite liked. So
Yeah. No,
some
I
interesting
liked.
projects lately.
Yeah, all of his films definitely that he's directed, especially the last two, are very much theater experiences. He's done a lot of good work with sound.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was an interesting project, Warfare. Um, yeah, I liked it. It was it just is what it was. Like there was no narrative. It was just trying to honestly capture that moment as much as honestly as it could, which I think is a very
Hmm.
admirable thing to do with a film budget. Especially for a war film that like could easily, in a lot of contexts, just be, especially for covering something so close to the present that a lot of people might be triggered by with everything the Iraq War did to people in
Hmm.
America, what it did to the people who still live in the Middle East. Um,
Yeah.
but I think you know, it's not really trying to comment on anything. It's just trying to show what happened.
Hmm.
Um, how about Elio from Pixar?
I mean, I don't know. I'll see what the reviews are. I must admit, it's not really high on my list of things to watch. I still haven't seen Inside Out 2 yet. I hear it's really good, but
It's solid.
I don't, I don't
Um,
know. It's not maybe like a 3 or something.
okay.
Yeah, not really that interested.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be good, maybe it won't. I'm like Pixar's usually pretty solid with that, but yeah, I mean, it's not really super high on my list of things to watch.
Yeah.
That's all.
It is a bit weird because I think it only had two directors at one point. Now it has three, or it might have only had one, and now it has three directors
Hmm.
credited. It's written by Adrian Molina, who is the co-director. He wrote Coco. That is his
Mm,
claim to Pixar
okay.
notability. It's also co-directed by Domi Shi, who did Turning Red, which is probably my
Mm,
favorite Pixar original since, well, other than like Soul in this decade. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward
Soul
to
is
it.
really good, and honestly, I didn't really get the hate for Turning Red, so yeah, that's the case. Then maybe I'll check it out. Yeah, we shall see.
Yeah.
Mm.
Jurassic World Rebirth.
One. I'm sorry, man. The trailers made it look so lame. I thought they were gonna do more like horror. That's what they were saying at least, but it doesn't look like it's gonna be that scary. So I don't give a fuck, honestly. This franchise has been painfully mediocre, like since the first Jurassic World. The first Jurassic World was I thought it was pretty fun. It was a solid movie, but ever since then it's been just bland movie after bland movie that they keep making $1 billion. I'm just like, why? Why are we going to see these movies? Like they haven't been really phenomenal since the first Jurassic Park anyway, so like I don't even understand what's the point.
It's true.
Like I would
Um,
much rather watch the Lost World Jurassic Park than I would rather watch the latest Jurassic World movies again. So like yeah, that should tell you all you need to know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Freakier Friday.
Damn, like sounds like a night at my house.
This guy.
uh I mean the first one was really good. I enjoyed that. I mean, I know it's a remake,
Yeah.
especially the third remake of this story, but did it need a sequel? I don't really think so. I mean, if it gets decent reviews, maybe I'll check it out. But I am trying to save money, so I don't know if I'll watch it.
Yeah, definitely doesn't feel like something worth the trip.
Yeah,
Probably.
something that you can just watch on streaming, and we just
Yeah,
get
it
the same
feels it
movies.
feels like they're going for theaters, which I admire. Maybe it'll be worthy of that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, so probably like a two or
Yeah.
three. Okay, I know this isn't really summer,
Right.
right? It's like October, but what are you excited at all for Tron Ares?
I have not seen any Tron movies. It has Jared Leto. I don't know who the director is. I it would have to get good reviews. I don't know, dude. I like
Have you seen the first trailer?
the only thing that makes me no, I haven't. The only thing that makes me interested in it is the fact that Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are doing the music. They're the only
Yeah,
thing that would compel me to see it at this point.
not for. I mean, they do normally pick pretty decent projects, so I mean,
Yeah, not
maybe
all
it'll
of
be
them
good.
though.
Yeah, a good amount of
Good
them
amount
though.
of them, but that's usually because the
Yeah,
directors are really good. They're like a David
Hmm.
Fincher. They're a Luca Guadagnino. They're like the best in the business. Joaquin Roning, I think his name is. I don't
yeah. He
know.
did. He co-directed. Honestly, his track record isn't the best. Like he did like, in my opinion, the worst Pirates of the Caribbean movie, but he co-directed it though, so
Okay,
maybe he's better on his own. We'll see.
maybe. You never know.
I don't know, man. First trailer, I saw it. I watched it like 5 times because like I'm a huge fan of the Tron movies. I've seen all of them. Um, the first one's like it's all right, you know. I can see how it'd be groundbreaking for the time, but the effects haven't aged the best. But like Tron Legacy, in my opinion, still holds up pretty well today. Like it still looks phenomenal. It's a really well directed movie. The script, on the other hand, needed a bit of work, but I mean, I've rewatched it at least 10 times. It's one of my favorite movies, to be honest, and kind of a cult classic. But yeah, like I think this movie is probably gonna be. It'll at least be gorgeous to look at, because judging by the effects I'm seeing so far, like I saw so far in the trailer, I was pretty impressed. Like some of the stuff they were able to do, it looks like it'll at least be visually breathtaking. And honestly, if it looks like it's gonna be that visually breathtaking, I'm gonna go see it in theaters. So I'm gonna probably I want to say higher than a 7, but I do hear your concerns about Jared Leto. Okay, because that's the only thing that makes me worry about this movie because his track record lately has not been great. So I'm I'll say a 7. But
Yeah,
it's got a decent cast though. It's got Greta Lee,
yeah.
what's his name from Dahmer. What the hell's that guy's name? Evan Peters. He's
Evan
gonna be in it as
Peters.
well. Jeff Bridges is returning, and yeah, I mean, I think that's everyone I can think of right now. But yeah,
All right. I'm curious if you saw the Smashing Machine trailer
yes, I
with
did see
Dwayne
that.
Johnson. I'm not gonna watch it because I'm honestly gonna be there day one. I love I like Benny Safdie's projects. The director. Well, what did you think of the trailer though?
The trailer made me actually believe The Rock could at least get a Golden Globe nomination. I mean, like he looks like he's actually acting for once, and you know what? I'm fucking happy to see that. I really am because I just feel like bro has just been playing himself for the last decade, and it's been so like it's just been kind of tiresome. So I'm happy to see him finally like, take a risk again as an actor. Like it's good. It's intriguing. If I hear really good things about it, which I most likely will, because I think Benny Safdie is a great director, then yeah, I'll go check it out. So yeah,
Yeah. I'm hoping it'll be a TIFF, and I would love to be at. I would go to the world premiere for Benny Safdie alone. Obviously, Dwayne Johnson being there would make it quite the hot ticket. But
yeah, Emily Blunt too.
oh
She's
yeah,
gonna be
Emily
in it.
Blunt too. Yeah. Sorry
Yeah.
for dismissing her. She's obviously a powerhouse in everything she's in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then what was the other? Oh yeah, the weapons trailer came out, which I'm not gonna watch either because I'm pretty sold on it. just the talk around it.
Yeah. It is a good trailer though. It reveals just the right amount of information about the film,
Right.
and it sold me. So I want to be there for it.
Yeah.
Good cast too. You got Josh Brolin and bloody what's her name? Juliet, not Juliet Lewis. Who's the girl from
Julia
Ozark? What's her name
Garner.
again?
Or
Julia Garner. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. She's in it.
Yeah. Nice. I want to quickly ask if there's like I think right now is not the best time for movies, but is the best time maybe for TV so far this
Mm,
year, and maybe that we'll ever get this year. What TV shows have you been watching recently? I don't know if you agree
glad
with
you
what I just
asked.
said.
All right, so I did mention before we started recording, Andor season 2 came
Yeah.
out. I think it's pretty solid so far. I'm intrigued to see where the season is going to go. I also started watching The Last of Us season 2, and yeah, I like it. I like it. I'm not. It's just I'm just sad because Joel's dead. You know, it just makes me sad. But
Well,
yeah.
spoiler warning.
Oh,
But like,
sorry. I thought you knew, dude. It's like in the
no, I
second
know,
video game.
I know that. My brother told me
Okay.
after I finished season one, because
Oh,
I
okay.
have
Okay.
not technically been exposed to the games. I also saw spoiled. I would have been spoiled for it anyways. I saw Twitter has no rest.
Yeah, I think they handled it better than they did in the game. To be honest with you, like it felt like his death had a bit more weight, and the way that the characters were reacting after it happened, I think, was pretty well done. You know, I am sad now though because I don't get to see Pedro for most of the season. I mean, like they're gonna be doing a lot of flashbacks from what I understand, so there'll be that. But at the same time, you know, like it's just gonna be it's just gonna be Ellie now, and Dina is what her name is her love interest. So I mean, I guess we'll see how the season is gonna go. One thing I'm really excited for, and this is like it's like I don't know, it's not a huge spoiler, but it's just like one part of the game. They go to Seattle, and there's this giant monster called the Rat King, and it's like a bloater mixed with a stalker and a couple runners, and it is like it's like because they all like melted together almost because like they were in this wet spot and the fungus kind of like combined all of them together. It was fucking crazy. So I'm interested to see how that's done in the show. I think it's gonna be very terrifying. And the second episode had some very stressful scenes because there's this whole part where like their compound's being raided and like oh my god, it's there's just so many infected. It's great. Like if you get to that, I think you'll. I'm not gonna say too much about that because like I want you to experience it, but it's I think it's really well done. I think it's on par with the quality of the first season, and I'm excited to see where the season keeps going. So yeah,
yeah.
definitely check that out.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing more of it. We only watched the first episode. Liv hasn't been in the mood to see the rest of it. We've been prioritizing the rehearsal actually, which also comes out Sunday nights
Hmm.
from Nathan Fielder. You need to see the rehearsal. It is especially the most recent episode. The things he's doing will probably never be done again in their same form, at least. Do you Nathan Fielder's? Have you?
Nathan Fielder. I know he's always like doing crazy shit for a show.
Yeah. No, you need to watch. Like, you don't even need to see the first season to understand what's going on in the second season. You need to get on the second season ASAP. I probably can't recommend anything higher enough. I've given the first two episodes both tens, just because
Okay.
I don't know. I may be like a bit of a fanboy of him, but I think it's really. I think most people agree it's very very good television. It's really funny, and he's doing some of the most absurd things with TV budgets you've ever seen in your life. So
Okay.
do yourself a
Oh,
favor
that's
and
pretty high
watch it.
praise. I'll take that in stride and I'll make sure I get
Yeah,
it out there.
and it's only
Yeah.
half an hour, so
That's not bad.
half the time of,
Um,
in
yeah,
theory, half the
okay.
time of The Last of Us. But yeah, very good.
Nice. Okay. All right. I will try and check that out then. Thank you.
And then Hacks is really good,
I hear
but
Axe is pretty good, yeah.
yeah,
I've been meaning to maybe check that out at some point.
so and
Someone
then
said that my roommate said the studio is pretty good
the
too.
studio is very good. I've been watching it. Yeah, Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg are doing very well. Uh, they continue the tradition, not tradition, but the trend. I feel more shows tapping into stuff that used to be reserved only for films with a lot of long takes.
Yeah.
Specifically, one episode is entire one take, which is really interesting. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
tackling a lot of relevant things that people who discuss film and Hollywood on Twitter are always talking about, and it's doing with a good amount of humor,
Okay,
uh, solid writing, pretty good cast. Yeah, I like it a lot.
good to know.
Yeah, I'd
Speaking
recommend
of
it.
all that, though, because you said like tackling serious issues, have you seen Adolescence?
Yes, yeah,
Dude,
Adolescence.
that was so fucking good. I was actually floored with how phenomenal that show was. Like the shit they were doing was wild.
Yeah,
You know.
it yeah, Stephen Graham and Jack Thorne who wrote it, with director Matthew Lewis. I watched their other film called Boiling Point, which is also very
I've
good.
heard that's pretty good. Yeah.
That's worth a watch if you can get it. Yeah, I'm glad Adolescence. It's weird that something like that, like especially compared to like Boiling Point, has a lot of the similar qualities. It's one take. It covers a lot of social issues. Um, very personal, dark drama. But obviously, Adolescence went pretty viral overall, especially partially because I think one because of its quality, I hope. Two because
Hmm.
of what it covers, just with um, you know, influencers and incel culture, I guess you'd call it maybe, but also just the state of schools in the UK and violence towards women. So yeah, it's a show that everyone's kind of has. Most people have seen it. I feel who people who have Netflix and watch TV and movies.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with you there because I also just like how it's not like a who done it, right? It's like why he did it, and it goes deep into the psyche of like what's wrong with a lot of young men today and like why they feel entitled to women's attention or women's approval. It's like it's a really interesting show, and then just having every episode be a one take, it's just like a feast for the eyes and just really shows how talented the people are in front of the camera. Not just, I mean, behind the camera, they're incredibly talented too. To have all those like movements and coordination takes a lot of effort and practice to get that right. But also just the fact that these actors were able to keep going and stay in character continuously for an hour for each episode was just super impressive to me. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, very good. Um, Feels a little reductive recommending it because I feel like most people who have Netflix and watch TV, like I said, have watched it, but it's very good.
Hmm.
Um, all right, I think we should,
Get into
yeah,
Sinners.
yeah, get
Hmm.
into Sinners.
Hmm.
Um, how did you watch this film? That's been something
I
that,
saw it in IMAX for
yeah,
opening nights, and then I
very
saw
nice.
it at a on a smaller screen on Tuesdays for the cheap day.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay. I because yeah, that's been obviously something that's been highlighted by Ryan Coogler himself, and I don't know if you saw that video of him
I
talking
did.
about the
Yeah,
different formats that you could see the film in and explain the differences between them. Um, I didn't make it out to see the 70 millimeter, even though I'm closer to Vaughn than you are. I also didn't consider it. Um, it's a long trip to Vaughn, and
we do have IMAX theater here in Windsor, so
yeah, yeah. And
yeah.
I did see it in IMAX the second time because I have
Okay.
the film pass I mentioned. That's what I saw it in first, but obviously I did want to see it in IMAX after enjoying it a lot the first time.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and I got a lot out of the second viewing. So yeah, Sinners is I'll just briefly mention what it's about. It's about two brothers, twins, who come back to their hometown in Mississippi to start new business. But it quickly, well, not that quickly, but it gets interrupted by vampires. I've that becomes evident obviously in the beginning of the movie. I wish I honestly didn't see the marketing for this film. I don't know if you agree. But giving away, did you know Haley? Okay, so we're gonna get into minor spoilers, stuff that's in the marketing. That Haley Steinfeld will become a vampire. You knew that, right?
I did know, but I also like after the first trailer that like before they even showed that in the second trailer, I did kind of have an idea that something was gonna be happening with her. Because the first trailer, she's kind of like has this sort of like evil look on her face, and I didn't really trust her character to begin with, right? But then when the second trailer showed that she turned into a vampire, I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So I
Yeah,
wasn't really that surprised that that happened with her, but the way that it happened was like kind of was interesting. It was a good way to. It was a good like introduction to the character, and we kind of see like a lot of the mindset of these vampires without the film. But I'll let you continue. Yeah, I don't want to get too much into it just yet. I'll let you finish the plot summary. So.
yeah. I was basically just gonna say that because I think we can just talk about different parts of the film at this point.
Okay.
Um, yeah, like obviously, I think saying that description it makes it sound a bit reductive because I think this film is obviously a lot more than just a vampire film. Um, it's very much a
It's a modern
commentary.
classic, man. Like this is a
Yeah,
fucking instant classic. The fact that I wanted to see this movie again right after I got out of the theater the first time is not a feeling that I feel very often with movies, and I'm happy to support this. I might even go see it a third time, honestly. Like I'm considering it because it's
yeah.
that fucking good. I genuinely the only thing I maybe sort of I don't not that I don't like it. I just the only thing that I can maybe like knock against it is that the pacing in some areas isn't the best, but I can see maybe why Ryan took that choice. He really wanted to flesh out the world of his story before we get into the crazy shit, which I do think was a pretty good choice in the end. Like you care a lot more about all the characters, like you understand their motivations really clearly. You they all feel very fleshed out. Like the main like ensemble feels very fleshed out. It doesn't seem like there's any like super flat characters in the film. So,
No,
yeah.
they it almost feels like it could have worked as a TV miniseries because I feel like they're with each character getting a pretty rounded out motivation and like backstory, which they do deliver a decent amount of exposition to accomplish. But I think that obviously helps us care about each of the characters because they all, okay, we're getting into spoiler territory for sure. Most of them die, um,
Hmm.
in some form or another, and yeah, obviously, yeah, it is more impactful for us to actually care about them rather than just them, kind of just showing up and then dying. It was obviously important for him to take his time with that and make sure that we, kind of care about them as an audience. Um, but yeah, I think I knew Ludwig Göransson was doing the music. I think that's maybe the part that the trailer won't entirely reveal is how important music is to this film. It is really like
Yeah.
the soul of this film in a lot of ways. It's the kind of the soul of its commentary, um, where it's very much. I think the main thing I was thinking about when I saw it the first time, but this is also why I think it's pretty rewatchable. Is just it's about minority black ownership. It's about minority black music and the relationship between those things. Because the vampires they can be interpreted in a number of ways. This time period obviously brings about clear racial commentary. Just with the poor conditions of the lives of African Americans in Mississippi during the Jim Crow era, and also like almost the implausibility of this being very much it feels like a fairy tale in some ways or a folk tale where you know two brothers pull off this amazing feat in theory where they gain the money by pulling off this incredible con on two crime groups, as is mentioned in the exposition, that gives them the opportunity to actually open a business that is supposed to, be a staple of their community, hopefully. Actually buying property that maybe would only be reserved for white people because of monetary, you know, the ability to actually make that kind of money as is portrayed. Most of them are just working in the fields, picking, in plantations, you know, labor work that doesn't pay very well.
Hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, music is obviously like an escape, a point of connection that matters a lot to them. And then it's threatened by the fact that I like the idea um, that so Miles Canton, the guy who plays Preacher Boy,
Hmm.
or what's his real name? Why can't I remember it right now? Do you remember?
Let me look.
Okay. But my point about him is that he's like very much the catalyst, the center of the story in a lot of ways, despite the twins kind of being the main characters, where his ability to play music very well are the reason that the vampires show up because the motivation from, everyone, like, you can break this film down just by the motivations everyone has, which I think is really interesting.
Sammy Moore.
Yeah, Sammy Moore, um, where his ability to play the blues is actually the reason the vampires show up because he has this mythical power to, when he plays music, to almost like, you know, bring the spirits of past and present cultures into the room. It's almost like that Ratatouille moment in some ways, where like a certain kind of music makes you feel connected to your culture, and where certain music, can represent both the future and the past, and just the progression of a certain kind of music that means a lot to certain cultures. Um, and then Remick, Remnick, the uh,
Remick.
the main vampire played by Jack O'Connell, who is hilarious by the way, um,
Hmm.
really good in it.
Yeah.
Wants to comes to the juke, to the club juke, the twins'
Yep.
business to take Sammy's powers for himself, so that they can all be together as vampires, live forever, and enjoy his Irish music that he dearly misses because the whole idea is that he, as a oppressed people under England, was he's been searching for that kind of music. That was his hope and his comfort during that time. But because he's lived forever as a vampire, or since then, he died. Well, yeah, he dies in this movie, but he's
Yeah.
seeking that Irish music and needs someone like Miles to give
Yeah.
it.
He wants a connection to his past again.
Yeah,
I thought that was a really interesting aspect because I feel like most vampires, they're from like Eastern Europe, right? And I think it was a good choice to make the vampire somebody who was oppressed before and had a religion placed upon them, right?
yeah,
So it's not just the like I feel like a lot of these like southern a lot of the stories like this would just go the route like, oh, the vampire's racist, right? But no, the fact that he doesn't want that. He wants to bring everybody together under a community, but in doing so, he's also becoming an oppressor in his own. I thought was a really interesting plot point, right? Like I thought that really added so many different layers to the film, and that's one of the aspects I really thoroughly enjoyed about it. I thought it was super cool. And
yeah,
speaking of music, like earlier you were mentioning, can we talk about that phenomenal scene where we first, where we're first like seeing Sammy play at the juke? Like, I don't know what you think, but I thought that was like phenomenal. I didn't know what I was watching at first. I thought I was blown away. It was one of the coolest sequences I've ever seen put to film. I've never really seen anything like that before. I thought it was so cool. What I don't know. What do you
yeah.
think about that?
It was a little underwhelming the first time. Like people had mentioned that scene beforehand.
Yeah,
Might have been a bit underwhelming the first time, but I've grown to appreciate it more honestly since then. Especially seeing it in IMAX with the aspect
yeah.
ratio change, I think plays a lot into it. Um, yeah, like I do really like how the characters cost, like the people who are playing their type of music, the the presence of other people in other times, that kind of sound is integrated pretty. It's incredibly ambitious to like put all these different sounds into one cohesive sounding piece of music, and they
Hmm.
pull it off pretty well. Like I didn't know it would exactly be like that, but it pulls it off pretty well. Like I think Ludwig's always done that with his scores, kind of mixing some more traditional music with like or orchestral stuff with more electronic bass and beats, which he does really effectively here too. Um, in the entire score he does that really well. Where he's like, it's very much a score that's not just trying to be, just guitar 1930. It's not just trying to keep itself to the technology of the time. It's very much, going beyond that.
Cross generations, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I
Um.
actually also found kind of interesting was you know the musician, the guy that got to play older Sammy, right?
Yeah, buddy guy.
Yeah. I've been to his bar in Chicago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, no,
That's
he's
sick.
a phenomenal blues musician. Like I was kind of, I thought like, it was kind of cool that they got him for this movie. Like he's one of the better blues. He's one of the best blues musicians of all time, and like to see, I don't know, it's just I think it was a good choice to get him for the movie. I think like couldn't really have gotten anybody else to play an older Sammy. And speaking of that, like the sequence where like we see like Smoke and Taylor Steinfeld's character, Mary come back. Like I thought that was kind of cool. It was a good way to end the film because I was wanting a little bit more after like after we just saw Sammy driving away and then seeing like the older Sammy performing. I thought initially that was gonna be it, but I was just like something in me was telling me to stay. I'm so glad I did because I really thought it was an interesting sequence. They talk about all the good and all the bad that came from that day and how it freed some, but then also made other people like more fearful for the rest of their lives. Like Sammy was talking about how he continues to wake up in terror at least once a week for the remainder of his life, about that night. And but yet still like they still can both consider it the best night of their lives, which is kind of interesting. So
Yeah,
yeah.
like I think a less ambitious version of this movie would have had like just dramas between all the characters going over this course of this night, and then have them attacked by the KKK and a lot of them having to team up to defend themselves. But they instead
Mm-hmm.
do that first with vampires and make the KKK stuff, literally like almost an
A footnote.
epilogue type of thing. Like the main
Yeah, I thought that
climax
was kind of
happens
cool.
before.
Yeah.
It's still obviously a really cool scene, and I think reminiscent probably of black exploitation films, where it's always satisfying to see people taking revenge on their oppressors, on the the racists.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but obviously that's not the heart of the film overall. It is a very good scene. Um, but yeah, no, I mean each character I want to commend is just has such a clear motivation and is really interesting. Remnick's really interesting. Delroy Lindo as Delta Slim, the other
Mm-hmm.
musician, is really funny, very
Yeah.
good. Um, I think
Michael
for
B.
me,
Jordan, I would say, is probably the strongest performer in this movie, though, because both I know it sounds crazy to say, but I sometimes forgot that it was the same actor because they feel so different in their characterization, and I think he does a really good job at portraying the subtle differences in each character. Like Stack is more like boisterous, he's more animated, and Smoke is a little bit more reserved. He is a bit more level headed. I found that really a really interesting plot point. Like they're identical, obviously, but not in the ways you might think. So yeah, because it could have been just very easy. I feel like so many movies they just like they play twins as like, oh, they're like mirrors of each other. They're exactly the same in every single way, but they felt like two very distinct characters throughout the entire film, and I really appreciate the care taken by Michael B. Jordan to really bring that to life. So yeah,
yeah, yeah, I mean I agree with all of that. It's like the detail with the cigarettes
yeah,
is like really interesting. Like there's a lot of detail put in this film. Ryan Coogler clearly really thought about how these characters fit with each other, not just as individuals. It's not like just one person's driving this ship. All the characters' motivations bounce against one another. There's like one point where it feels like a little like. Do you know personally why Mary and Smoke Stack and all the other vampires leave after Annie is stabbed? They leave temporarily, or at least most of them. Is because
I I
like I
think
only have
like
two
retreating or
theories.
whatever or
Yeah, when
something.
Annie is like when Stack uh puts the stake in Annie after she's bitten, Mary and Smoke. No, sorry, other way around. Mary and Stack run
Yeah,
away along
yeah.
with a bunch of other vampires. Do you know why like that happens?
I'm not entirely sure about that, to be honest. I think it was more because like they were just like grief stricken because they knew that like if they were able to turn her, it would be
Yeah,
easier to turn Smoke, right? And once they
right.
saw what he did, they knew that they couldn't all be together, and they were probably
Yeah,
just devastated and they wanted to leave immediately, right?
yeah.
So
Which
that's
is
my
like
thinking, at least.
not the strongest excuse for what's happening in the scene to me, because I feel like the
Yeah,
vampire need for them to, you know, turn them all would have been stronger than that. But like,
yeah,
it works enough. Remnick also, I think, gets shot. So I think, because they're a hive mind, he maybe wanted to retreat for a little bit, knowing they were
yeah.
still trapped. Anyways, yeah. I mean, that final scene with Sammy and Rebnick in the river is, I mean, it's shot really well. The music, I
Mm-hmm.
really like that. Has a drumming from Lars Ulrich of Metallica. I don't know if you knew that.
Really?
Yeah, but that track
Wow.
with the rock, the electric guitar, that's like the vampire theme is really really good. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this is like one of the best scores of the year for sure. It's gonna be hard to beat this one. I
I would
mean,
agree with
even
you there. Yeah.
a lot of interesting stuff, probably from people like Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, from Alexander Desplat. Lots of Johnny Greenwood. Like lots of interesting scores will come out, but like Ludwig definitely proved he deserves at the very least to be among in that conversation with one of the best composers working today, if not the best, up there
Yeah.
for sure. He did an incredible job with the music in this film.
Sorry, hold on. I just dropped my pill. I need to grab.
All good.
Yeah, I would agree with you. He is in my opinion like one of the best working composers today, and just like yeah, everything he put into the score was phenomenal. I was absolutely floored with all the music. I really like Mouse Caden as a performer. I think I Lied to You. It's in my library actually. I really like that song, and I also really liked. I really like their take on Rocky Road to Dublin as well, because that's actually an Irish folk song already. It wasn't written for the film,
Right.
but yeah, no, I liked that sequence where the vampires are like doing like a jig. It was I don't know. It was kind of fun. It was an interesting way for them to taunt their enemy and get like kind of ready,
Yeah.
you know,
It also,
to
I
go
think,
get them.
very much represents what Remnick wants, which is like he's trying to recreate that music that he remembers from when he was alive, um,
Yeah,
and wants to connect back to it. So I think honestly, like seeing like that it was good and that like it connects them all together, maybe not in the most pure way, but like being that they're currently like almost cursed to live forever, um, it's like their only source of joy with being like
yeah.
stuck on Earth because they can only, you know, go certain places in the night. That you can see that sort of potential. Like some people said, it's maybe a metaphor for also the fact that it's specifically Stack and Mary who get stuck as vampires. That's like a metaphor for the lack of ability for them to be together in that time.
And then they
Um,
were able to stay together until a time where it was more socially acceptable,
yeah,
which was, I mean,
exactly.
I think that was kind of a nice plot point as well. It was a good ending for them. It's definitely better than what they would have gotten if they
Yeah.
continued to try to be together during that time
While
period. But
which opposes the relationship that Smoke gets with Annie, where they get to
yeah,
like potentially be together with their child in some kind of
yeah, so
afterlife, which is,
yeah,
it's very ambiguous. Like this film does touch on religious themes, obviously,
yeah,
um, while not obviously, I think taking the clearest stance to like has a more agnostic stance where like I think there's like a clear belief in an afterlife and like an importance of being able to be connected to those who've come before us in death in some way, whether that's like a heaven or some other kind of afterlife is also like the idea of the devil and God and religion. Obviously, like so it's definitely not. I think some people have maybe read it as a condemnation of religion. I definitely don't view it that way. More
yeah,
condemnation of religion that's forced on people, used as a
yeah,
tool to oppress people, used as a tool to, you know, pacify a group of people. I think it was really intriguing that way. And that's what ultimately connects Remnick and Sammy in those last moments where he's like plunging him in the water. You can see it almost as a reverse baptism
Yeah.
to me, where like the idea of getting baptized by the devil is like he's free of religion, which I think in this sense is a good way because the characters in this story very much I think view religion as something that was forced on them. Delta Slim obviously feels that way. Remnick feels that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, like I think this show, like obviously this whole thing is like all these characters want to be free of the labels that are pushed on them by the society they live in. Even
Mm-hmm.
Mary, as someone who's partial, like has black ancestry but is clearly seen as white,
Mm-hmm.
and would never be seen another way, has to deal with those even, and obviously all of the people of color having to deal with the segregation and being minorities in where they live, and
Mm-hmm.
also the twins having to deal with their father's legacy, as they mentioned, where they weren't even allowed into this town of that's completely black owned because of who their father was. It's yeah, it's really interesting that way. Like I again, very rewatchable, very like just so much. Like I feel like we could talk about this for a lot longer, honestly, and
No,
maybe
we
even
definitely
well over
could, man. We
time.
could be
We'll
here all
probably end
night,
up
honestly.
talking about it again in future years. Like you said, I think it will stick around for sure. It's a really good film, very
Mm-hmm.
watchable film, also just for audiences who don't even want to read into it that much. But there's also so much that Ryan Coogler put in there because he's able to deliver this exposition with also the back goal in mind, at least in the first hour, where the characters are trying to get put together, the people and the stuff that they need to make this club happen. So that
Mm-hmm.
keeps you engaged at the very least, along with some good humor from Delta Slim. Also, him shooting the two guys he knows, or at least one guy he knows, for trying to rob his truck in the first
Yeah.
part. Yeah. Um,
Mm-hmm. No, no. Yeah, no, I can agree with you more, man. I think this is a phenomenal movie. Hoping it gets some Oscar nominations. I swear
yeah.
to God, if there's more recency bias in the Academy, it's gonna really piss me off because this deserves to be there. I think it should at least be nominated for Best Picture, in my opinion.
I think this. I've strong hope it will be in Best Picture. I feel like it will. Its
Yeah,
impact, its love, its box office, all of those are undeniable.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I think it will honestly probably get Best Director. I'm thinking Best Original Score nomination. Not Best Director win maybe, but I think it will get nominated. And then the cinematography definitely should be there for a
Yep.
nomination.
And depending
Um,
on what other performances we see this year, maybe Michael B. Jordan gets a nomination for Best Actor. Who knows?
Yeah, you'd hope maybe Miles Canton in
Yeah,
supporting, maybe Delroy Lindo. Yeah, you never know. It'd be really funny
yeah,
if they. I would mention Jack O'Connell as Remnick as the main vampire. He's really good.
yeah.
It'd be
He was
very
really good as
ironic if
Remington,
he was the only
actually.
one nominated in this uh, very much strong black cast. But
Yeah,
yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I'm hoping this will be recognized by the Oscars, but I think it's already gotten the recognition from everyone else. Like people know this is a great movie. It doesn't need the Oscars to boost it really, but it'll obviously be logical to recognize such a film like this.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're good to maybe wrap up then.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yep.
I'm currently giving it like a 9 out of 10, maybe closer
Mhm.
to an 8 than a 10, but it's really really good.
For
I'll see it
for me,
again
it's a 10.
probably.
Because I actually liked it more. I liked it even more the second time around because there was,
Yeah,
some layers I missed and getting to. For me, like if I see a movie, in my opinion goes up upon a rewatch, that's usually a good sign. Like, there's not many films I can name off the top of my head that will really do that. It's like now it's Sinners. The Dark Knight is one of them as well. Uh, Honestly, Oppenheimer too. I liked Oppenheimer even more the second time I watched it. But yeah, no,
yeah.
it's a fucking phenomenal movie. I feel so glad that I got to watch it in IMAX on opening night, and yeah, Ooh, I really want to see more original work from Ryan Coogler because
Yeah,
he's got some sauce. Honestly,
we need it.
he's one of those directors who just has sauce. Like him, Christopher Nolan, David Fincher, and I don't know. Those are the guys who come off the top. Those are the people who come up like off the top of my head, like about directors who just have like sauce and
Yeah.
they can just cook
Hmm.
when they come up with a great story. You know, because like most of these guys write their own stuff too. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, Jordan
yeah,
Peele I'd put up there. I mean, there's a lot
I
of
would definitely
other,
put up in that there
especially
too.
for like blockbuster type filmmaking.
Yeah, Catherine
There's a lot of
Bigelow, I would
other
say as well.
indie directors I put in that category, but I think
Yeah,
he's obviously this is like his first original film in some ways because even
yeah.
Fruitvale Station was based on a real story and a real person.
Then Creed
Um,
was based off the Rocky movies, and then
Black Panther,
is an adaptation, obviously, of a
yeah,
comic book. But yeah,
but yeah, I'm hoping. I low key just don't want him to make Black Panther 3. Just make his next script, give
not
him
for real.
everything it deserves. Because I think I'm just surprised he hasn't done an original film before this, considering what he does with this script. Like it's really
Yeah,
good.
it's fucking phenomenal.
And
It's
the amount of
amazing, honestly.
commentary he was able to put in this really entertaining genre film is frankly insanely impressive.
Astounding, yeah, I
Because
know.
it doesn't really have many art house sensibilities, but it really has like some like art house effects where it's really like its themes are so prominent and is able to like do scenes that aren't really moving the plot forward necessarily, like the scene where Miles is playing. I mean, you could see it as moving the plot forward in some ways, but like
I would definitely
really,
argue it is because it's showing us the power he has with the guitar, and then it's showing us that it's putting the juke joint on the vampire's radar, right?
right. But I guess those
Yeah,
scenes wouldn't need to be as long, probably,
yeah.
right? But the fact that
Maybe not,
it,
but I think having it as long as it was really just like I don't know. It makes me feel like it really. I think it showcases his power with music a lot better,
yeah,
considering how drawn out it was. I liked it. I liked it for that reason. But
yeah, no, those full musical sequences, obviously, I mean, they're just enjoyable to watch, period. So, like, why wouldn't you have them?
mhm.
But yeah, like, it fits well enough in the story, obviously. But yeah, it is able to take, it makes something like that, which is not like crucial to the story, one of the, like, probably the most talked about, maybe the best scene in the whole thing. So, um, yeah, extremely impressive.
Indeed,
All right. Yeah, I guess that will do it for our podcast today, talking about Sinners.
hell of a movie to
Um,
start back up with. That's for sure.
yeah. Um, I don't know what we'll watch next. Maybe we'll talk about that later over time.
Mission Impossible,
Huh?
potentially.
True, Mission Impossible for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. No. I mean, a lot of summer movies are based on franchises this year. Not really many, even like longer time revivals. I feel where like even Twisters felt like it was going to slightly newer territory, where it wasn't like while it was based on an older film, it like I felt new to most audiences. I guess in the same
Mm-hmm.
way Top Gun Maverick was, but similar to that, but also different characters at least. Um, we're not really getting that, but um, yeah, there's still a lot of other good. There's a good A24 projects like Pedro Pascal is going to be in the Materialist and Eddington, so it's still Pedro Pascal summer plus Fantastic Four. So
And Last of Us season 2. Can't forget about that.
yeah, well,
He's
like
everywhere.
well, he's not in it anymore, as you mentioned, but
Well, I mean, yeah, he'll still be in it, but yeah, you're right. Just not as big of a role as season 1, but that's okay.
yeah,
It's all right. I'll appreciate him more when I see him. Also, just want to make another quick statement. I appreciate his advocacy for trans rights as well, especially in this day and age. I appreciate I appreciate him for him sticking to his guns. I have a lot of trans friends, and I hate seeing them suffer during this time. It is. I mean, obviously, we're lucky. We're in Canada. That their rights aren't as in jeopardy, but it does limit where they can go in the world, and it is unfortunate we are seeing that today. So it's good that there is more and more people in high profile positions speaking up about that sort of stuff. So
yeah,
yeah, real
for
shit.
sure. All right, yeah, let's wrap it up. Yeah, we'll figure out what we're gonna talk about next time. But this has been the Dead Film Critics Society podcast. Appreciate you listening, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.